would like for ex-offenders to have a second chance, for people to know that we've been jail and yes, we have been rehabilitated.
I've been in the system since I was 12, I'm 20 now, going on 21, and every professional that I've walked into has never listened to words of what I've said.
Just focus on the now, that we're trying to fix our lives and go straight.
I would like the decision makers to understand why those who commit crimes do commit crimes and create an understanding between the both, so we can come up with some sort of solution.
Thousands of young offenders in Britain commit crimes again and again and again. Those in authority responsible for trying to tackle this problem have found it difficult to stop the vicious cycle of reoffending.
Use a Voice is a charity set up several years ago which gives marginalised and disenfranchised individuals a voice through their own elected councils. Last year, they worked with the Youth Justice Board on a project involving young offenders.
You look down at me like I'm a youth offender, but you don't know what I've been through and you don't know my story.
Just give more opportunities, and the people at the top just to try and see it through our eyes. Just come to North London, South London, East London, West London for a day. Stay and live in their council estate for like a week and see what it's like, and then maybe they'll understand.
This project began with a nationwide survey which focused on young people who had offended or were at risk of offending. 700 surveys were completed and over 150 of these people attended focus groups throughout England. The purpose was for them to select a small group of their peers who would represent them at a policy and decision-making government conference in Brighton.
What you're going to say at Brighton will determine how thousands of other young people that go through that YOT are treated.
These young people were going to be given an opportunity to discuss their issues right in front of the decision makers.
If you're able to structure and say, you know, I might be from so-and-so place in Birmingham, I might be from Hackney, I might be from Brixton, but I've also got a mind.
Use a Voice had managed to secure access to something that had never been done before. But would anybody listen to a small group of youngsters?
Yeah, my name's James. Come down to Brighton to this convention to prove to them that we're not just all the same, we're persons, we're not just a number.
To help calm their nerves, a rehearsal was arranged the night before.
So we're at the Youth Justice Convention. There's 1,000 adults and people that make money from us, that lock us up, and what you guys are representing are the national youth.
Martin is from Rochdale and has seen cutbacks on the amount of sport and recreational facilities on inner city estates.
The only thing what we had on our estate there, yeah, was with not even a four-side football pitch, and we was on it every day during the day playing football. And they ripped it down there, the next minute the crime just went up like 50%.
Tom was involved in the recent student protests and is concerned about cutting educational funding for young people.
They're cutting EMA for people to get to college and school, they're raising tuition fees so people can't go to uni, they're cutting jobs as well, so even if they have a criminal record, you can't get a job anyway.
Candice is trying to rebuild her life after a series of family bereavements which forced her to drop out of college.
In order for me to go to college, I have to lose my benefits and lose my house, and I can't risk that because then I'll be homeless and I might not even get a job at the end of college anyway. Government is saying they want people to better themselves, but they're just digging our graves for us.
Tim has been in and out of the youth justice system since he was 13 and is struggling to find a way out.
When you're a naughty kid, it seems like just institutionalising you all the way. They've locked me in all my life. They've not given me a chance to do anything.
So the following morning is the first day of the conference. Candice, Tim, Martin and Tom now have the opportunity to be heard by the decision makers for the first time.
There's a lot of important people here, a lot of the chief government policy makers, people in high places, so a bit nervous about speaking to them, but yeah, hopefully they'll listen to what we've got to say. We've got a lot of different stories, everyone's got their own experiences within the system, what they've done and how they've been treated.
It's your chance to shine. The most powerful ground that you've got to stand on with these people. They've got plenty of opinions, right? But none of them have got the real experience of crime, yeah? So when you get to speak to someone, tell them about your life.
Next to the conference hall User Voice set up a workshop. Policymakers were invited to drop in and listen first-hand to the issues debated by the young people.
Stuff that could have been done in terms of working with you when you were 13 that would have made a difference.
Someone to talk to, someone who we can relate to, like these guys that use a voice to understand.
My dad died, then my nan died, then my granddad died, and then all died in the same one. Like most of youth offending work was like, oh, just stop offending, Candice, but it's not that easy.
The youth offending teams should provide more for them, like more interest, like go to the gym, like set them tasks, go gym, go to this football team, do that, like just try and encourage them off the street.
The following day, several of these young people were invited to give their opinions in front of the main conference.
Let me introduce our representatives from User Voice.
How can we work together to reduce youth crime?
We're not just paperwork, we're people.
If I go to college, then I would lose my benefits.
Everybody makes a mistake in life. I shouldn't be judged for it for the rest of life.
Engaging with people who've been involved in this sort of activity really gives you a really good idea of what works and what doesn't. I think what User Voice does is it empowers the individuals who are engaging to actually change policy.
I found today really enlightening and eye-opening. It's been amazing meeting the young people. They're a real inspiration.
I don't think I can come away from today without taking that voice and the messages which are ringing sort of loud and clear in my head to other colleagues, both in the Youth Justice Board and other government departments as well.
Those young people are quite inspiring. They are young people who've had real difficulties, massive difficulties, and yet are, standing up, looking you full in the face and telling you what needs to be done in youth justice to make sure that they can have a future.
And incredibly, after the conference, Mark and several of these young people were invited to the Houses of Parliament to discuss their issues with those decision makers at the heart of government.
I just hope they listen to us. Hopefully if we can tell them our story and kind of get them on board with what we want to do, then we can see a lot of change, hopefully.
They sat around the table for 2 hours.
Well, that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, sat in #1 committee room, 15 young people, the Youth Justice Minister, the Prisons Minister, some MPs, some Lords and Baronesses, and they actually listened.
It's been great to get my voice today off these decision makers, because I know it's going to make a big impact on people's lives in and around this country.
Coming here, I feel as if though I've spoken for a lot of people that can't speak and don't have the opportunities to actually get their point across and speak to people that can actually make a change instead of people that are just there to listen to them.
The next step, I think, is seeing what they're actually going to do. We've done what we can do and we're going to go to more meetings and say what we've got to say, but it's up to them now.
This project, devised by User Voice, has achieved more than anyone expected. Let's hope now that solutions can be jointly discussed which will benefit thousands of youngsters throughout Britain.